Hi everyone! Based on a recent poll from a YouTube community page, it appears more people prefer Carbon Greenland paddles than wood, and I thought it would be a great video topic to discuss. So today I'll share my thoughts on the differences between carbon and wooden Greenland paddles. For carbon paddles, I'm using gearlab Greenland paddles, while for the wood, I've been using the Eastpoles Nanook 2-piece. Wooden Greenland paddles can be made from many different types of wood, and each of them are unique in their own way. The wooden paddle I am using is made from red cedar, and being a natural material, every piece is different in terms of grain, color, and weight, and what this means is that not one paddle is the same. In terms of weight, there will be some variances, but it's usually within a range. Wooden paddles feel beautiful in the hands, and it provides more grip when paddling, so I had to adjust my grip to avoid any blisters. I really love the look of wooden paddles, and strangely, I love the smell too. It smells like a sauna. What I have noticed is that there is some flex with the wooden paddle compared to a carbon paddle, but that also means less pressure on the shoulders and arms. The buoyancy of the paddle is amazing when I roll, and somehow it feels quite romantic using a wooden paddle, as it pays homage to the original paddles used by the Inuits. The added benefit is that you can customize the paddles to the size that you require that is most ideal for your paddling. However, this will of course require extra time and cost to work with people who can do this. Subconsciously, I feel like I need to take care of the wooden paddle even more than I usually do with my other paddles. I feel like I can break it easier. I also noticed it is easier to damage even with light bumps. I hit my paddle on my camera mount and it did make quite a deep dent on it. Extra care will be needed when you have a wooden Greenland paddle and requires more maintenance, such as wiping the paddle with oils to maintain longevity of the paddle. Now going on to carbon Greenland paddles. My first Greenland paddle was from gearlab Outdoors, and it was the Akiak, which is a carbon paddle. I now have the Akiak, Kalleq, and the Ipik, and they all vary in shape and also the weight. The lightest carbon paddle I'm using is the Ipik, and it is extremely light at 600 grams. In general, you'll see that most of the carbon paddles out there are lighter than 1 kilo, which means they are extremely light and generally lighter than wooden paddles. Carbon is such a strong material so that you have reliability and durability with you. And what this means is that I am less careful with carbon paddles than wooden paddles. What I find about carbon paddles is that they are more resistant to scratches and damages compared to wooden paddles and requires much less maintenance than wooden paddles. This is definitely the benefit of having a carbon paddle. Carbon paddles in the hands, funny enough, feel softer than wood, and I believe it's because of the surface friction between wood and carbon. And because of this, I will always use my carbon paddle for day touring and long distances, while I use the wood paddles for short trips or for rolling only. I also feel that I will encounter less issues with the carbon paddle during longer trips than wooden paddles. Carbon paddles are generally pricier than wooden paddles, and if you're good with woodworking, you'll be able to make your own paddles that suit your paddling style, and also you can make them as frequent as you want at a much lower cost. So what are my final thoughts for these two types of paddles? There's something about wooden paddles that attracts me to it. And again, I believe it's because of the original Greenland paddlers who used driftwood to make their paddles. With me really loving Greenland rolling, I feel it brings me closer to the origins of kayaking when using wooden Greenland paddles. Carbon paddles will be my go-to paddles when I go on longer trips, as I subconsciously feel they are more reliable due to its strength and lightness. I love the fact that carbon paddles require less maintenance than wooden paddles, and I'm less hurt when I scratch the carbon paddle than wood. Maybe it's because one is a natural product while the other is synthetic. Who knows? But if you do get the chance, try them both out and you'll know what I'm talking about.